So then you clearly see in the mugshot his left eye.
Well, with friends like this, who really needs enemies? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Quisha King Show. I am Quisha King Benton. Go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this out with your friends. What we do over here on the Quisha King Show is we seek the truth. We try to go a little bit deeper than the surface. So if you want the surface stuff, you can certainly go to other channels for that. But over here, what we try to do is we truly want truth. We don't want to be lied to. We want the truth. And so we try to get to the root of issues so we can hopefully shed light on the truth and help people find solutions in this crazy chaos that we're living in. We're going to be talking today about this new update that I have found on Karmelo Anthony. Yes, again, we're talking about this case because it is important to keep up with. It involves young people at school. It involves someone losing their life, a young person losing their life, and now this whole race thing has been brought into it. So we're looking today at a supposed 10-year friend of Andrew Anthony, Karmelo Anthony's father. For those who may not know, if you don't know by now, Karmelo Anthony is the young 17-year-old kid, high schooler, who fatally stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest at a track school meet about a month ago now. And he was arrested. He admitted it, went to jail. His bond was lowered. His parents were able to get him out of jail. They have raised over $500,000. They have claimed threats on their lives, prompting them to say, we need to leave. Go watch my videos on that because I just don't find it credible. However, they have the right to do it. I also want to say they do have the right to have the Give, Send, Go. I did see the owner of Give, Send, Go. He came out and talked about that as well. He kind of mentioned, it's not something that I'm proud of, but yes, we want everybody to be able to have the right. You're innocent until proven guilty. I have no problems with that. I've never been one of the ones to say, oh, he shouldn't be able to raise money. You can. Like I say, let him have the same. He is afforded the same rights as everyone else under the law, because when he gets that due process, there are no questions on the back end when and if he is charged and convicted. So let's get into this interview by this 10-year friend of Anthony, of Andrew Anthony, Karmelo's dad.
And that's a no-go. But when I got my girlfriend's daughter a car here, Andrew, the father, did the deal.
So it sounds like this guy, I think his name is Mark Anthony as well. Like too many Anthonys, too many A's and Anthonys. We got Andrew Anthony, we got Karmelo Anthony. Now this guy is Mark Anthony. Lord have mercy. He supposedly, how he knows Andrew, the father, is he bought his daughter a car. Remember, Andrew Anthony, Carmelo's father, is he works at a car dealership. I think he's now a finance person, but maybe he started out as a car salesman. But that is how this man is saying that they met.
If anybody wants to ask me anything, I'm always good.
Why don't we do this? Go ahead and because I know one of your main things is the misinformation that has been going on.
There's a lot of it. I heard some of that this morning at breakfast.
So yeah. I think I'd like for you to just go ahead.
So this guy, I guess he interviewed him. I don't know who he is, but I will leave a link to the full video. It's like a 2-hour video, which we're not going to watch the whole thing, but there are some key points that I think are very important. And this is not who you want speaking. Again, the Anthonys have chosen or allowing someone who should not be saying anything to speak on their behalf or speak about the case. Like, they need to do some damage control, because this guy is not the person that you want speaking for you. The reason why we're going to play this is because what he says, if true, let's remember that, if true, is very revealing.
Go ahead and tell us what you can, and then go from there. How's that sound?
Well, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I go straight down the pond, honey. So, he was sitting under another school's tent. There was several other students from other schools sitting underneath, I guess, another, not their necessarily home tent, but, we saw, and coming from, I guess I can say that without incriminating. I mean, it was said that the tent was moved from the stairs, because they had them set up in the stairs, not like in the end zones, or I guess you could say where they normally put them. So the two tents were together. Karmelo was under one of them, and he was on his phone, and he was approached. And as the first statement said, he says, "My brother always has my back." So the question and the gap, I think, and I don't know, I call it a gap or a crack in the wall, crack in the floor, is that needs to be filled. Is, if I don't know you and you're sitting there, and of course other people, it's raining, have a little compassion for humans who want to be out of the rain. Why would somebody, as in the first statement, just start four lettering them? You know what I mean? That's just,
Okay, first of all, he wasn't there. Okay, so I'm guessing this is the account that Andrew Anthony got from Karmelo Anthony, and this is almost like a way for the Anthonys to get Carmelo's side out there unofficially. So, but he wasn't there. And the thing that I find so fascinating about what he just said was, he's like, where's your compassion for, somebody getting out of the rain? Oh, look, he's just someone that wanted to get out of the rain. Again, this whole he just wanted to get out of the rain thing it's not cutting it for me, because you're an athlete. You play in the rain, you run in the rain, you train in the rain. Like, get the freak out of here. Like, you're just so delicate that you couldn't stand some rain. And so, okay, you ducked off under a tent and somebody asked you to leave. So what? Just leave. So this whole, it's like, well, where's your compassion? Where was Carmelo's compassion? Like, it is beyond me that we, again, want to look at the victim for, they're kids. We have to look at the victim for him to exercise just the utmost compassion, but Karmelo not to. Where was Carmelo's compassion? Like, this is so crazy to me. How are you going to just walk right past Carmelo's compassion?
that's probably the first thing they're going to get to the bottom of. How did Karmelo, who's on the phone and being accused of, oh, he just started four lettering me.
Right.
Okay, we all have to scratch our heads about that.
No, I don't. I don't have to scratch my head about that, because kids, especially boys, they talk trash to other boys. From what I understand, the Metcalf boys weren't even there to run track. They were there as staff. So that puts them in a more authoritarian position. Okay, I'm here as staff. Why are you sitting under our tent? Apparently it wasn't obvious why he was sitting under the tent. I'm guessing because he was asking him, why are you here? So maybe, I don't know, but that is not provocation for you to shank somebody. Oh, I'm sorry. They corrected me in the chat. A shank is the actual weapon. No. The act of shanking. I don't know. Shank, a shiv, whatever. Why that does not, it's not provocation for you to fatally harm someone.
So it was clear that, he had this discussion with Karmelo, and then his brother stepped in. There's a squirrel, honey. She's going nuts. Oh yeah. Here we go. Oh, good. She didn't see it. Otherwise, you would have heard a dog screaming.
Like sitting down somewhere.
Then
doing this interview.
his brother steps in. Then they have words, and then the bag is grabbed from Karmelo. So his possessions are grabbed without his consent.
Okay.
And get tossed aside. Then, as you see in the police report or even the mugshot, I'm sorry, because we did talk about this, me and Andrew, because when Andrew called me the next day, and he talked to his father. Of course, his father doesn't even know the details, and he can't. And Karmelo can't say the details over the phone, because when you're incarcerated and you're making your phone call, you're recorded. You know that, I know that, and anything you say, it's just best to say. And his father said to me, "Bullying, Mark, bullying," and we're both in tears. Me and Dad are both in tears on this. Sorry about the dog. She's about. And you just got to walk her out of it. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Whoever's listening, all.
Fine.
But so he calls me and says this and that. But then as we get to it, as I was called later, so then you clearly see in the mugshot his left eye. Well, that just didn't happen because someone might say he was crying. No, he got pushed, and the hand went off his chest, and it was wet, and caught him underneath his eye. Well, then
this is nonsense. Like, let's just say that this is Karmelo's defense. Like, this is what provoked him to stab someone to death. Like, he looks like he's been crying a little bit, but I don't see I am not seeing where it looks like he was cut under his eye, or hit the right eye. I guess it would be the right eye looks a little red, but they both look a little, I'm still not seeing cause, where I don't see any blood. I don't see fear of life. Okay. Now, here's the other picture. Still, it doesn't look to be swollen, or I don't know. Y'all help me. Do y'all see anything? Do you see anything that I'm not seeing? And furthermore, when he was arrested, he never said. He never, at least in the police report, there was no reporting of him saying, he hit me in my eye, or, he hit, when he hit me in my eye, I just felt like my life was in danger. He says he put his hands on me, which everybody, I don't think there is a debate there. It sounds like, yes, Austin did push him at one point, and then and grab his stuff, or grab him stuff and then push him, or he put his hands on it at some point. He put his hands on his stuff at some point, or in one of those two scenarios. That seems to be consistent with what everybody's saying. In any other circumstance, will we say, okay, then it's now fair game of you to turn around and stab somebody? That is the question. Are Austin Metcalf's his actions, were they enough for you to feel like you are in fear of your life? Reasonably, do you have a reasonable fear of your life in danger? judging by Karmelo's own statements, judging by the police report, judging by the way Karmelo looks, judging by everybody that has said something about this, doesn't look like he had a reasonable fear of his life being in danger. And keep listening, because this so-called friend who is supposed to be like, I don't know why this person is speaking, but since they are, we have to talk about it. They're not helping at all. Listen to what he says.
There was words said as he's coming after him, and he's got his bag now, and he says, touch me, the warning. I call it an all-out warning. I probably have said it to myself, being a former hockey player. Do it again, man. But basically he said, touch me and see what happens. Well, I don't know what to say to that. So you got now, as in the first statement again, as I like to say always, the brothers said we, and each one of those brothers is 400 pounds, and I know Karmelo. I mean, he's not 150 pounds. There's no way that kid weighs 150 pounds.
Yeah, they have him listed at 162, and the brothers listed at 200.
Well, let's just say Karmelo was seriously outweighed.
Yeah,
I mean, two guys. First of all, he's outnumbered.
So it wasn't like they were both coming at him at one time.
It's wet. It's slippery. You think of all kinds of things that can happen to you in a situation. In a lot of teenage incidents, I went to high school. When an incident happens, you're instantly surrounded. It's hard to move. I mean, it's hard to move.
It wouldn't have been for Karmelo, because he was literally, it would not have been hard for Karmelo to move, because he was it was out in the open. He could have easily moved. He was asked to move and he didn't move.
So all that being said, he was looking for a way out.
Before you continue, do you know of anything that was said by the brother to Karmelo?
It's a lot of hearsay because it's not in the police report that I'm aware of. Okay. But from the father was, I'm going to punch you in the face with the N-word. Mm-hmm. So, that I'm sure will come to light in the next hearing. And I think that's, I know that's when Karmelo said, touch me, and, find out what happens. The kid just, I told you yesterday, in our phone conversation, he was accepted to a well-known university. Of course, I hope people will understand I cannot give that out, but astro engineering, are you kidding me? That is one smart kid. And not that if he did do anything, found guilty, innocent, but judges don't want to throw promising young people in jail. They don't, and I'm not giving anybody excuse. There should have been no loss of life.
Boom.
Absolutely none.
Right there. That is what he said, and I'm like, this guy is not helping. There should not have been any loss of life. Let me tell you why that is such a big admission. Because he's getting, if this is all true, if this Mark Anthony person is real and this is true, he's getting this information from Andrew Anthony, Karmelo's father, which got it from Karmelo Anthony. So in this kind of telephone game, Karmelo told Andrew told this 10-year friend, Mark. Mark's own conclusion is there should not have been a loss of life. So apparently, listening to the details that he heard, his conclusion too is there should not have been a loss of life, meaning he did not think, listening to this, that there was a reasonable thinking that your life was in danger. There was a reasonable threat of your life being in danger, listening to what Andrew said to him. So why are you talking? You're not helping your so-called 10-year friend. You're not. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this crazy case. I am still wondering why there is no video evidence. I really am just perplexed by there being no video evidence. There's another thing that this guy says. He's like, oh, in the courtroom, they said that the Metcalfs called him the N-word. I have listened to the reporters that were in there. If that would have happened, you can best believe that every freaking news office would have been reporting about the white guy who called the kid the N-word and he just lost it and stabbed. We would know that. There were press, there was journalists, there was press in that bond hearing, and nobody reported that. Not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying nobody reported it. And we all know that that would have been front page news from the New York Times down to, the Texas Talk, something, some small publication. Okay. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this. What do you think about this so-called 10-year friend? Do you think he's credible? I'll leave the link in the description below. And shout out to, let me get her channel name. Chat with me, Linda B, which is where I first saw this story. She first posted on her page, and I wanted to go and check it out for myself and give my own comments. But thank you to Linda for finding this and sharing it out. So shout out to her. But let me know what you guys think about what I think about this crazy story in the comment section below. If you have not subscribed, please go ahead, subscribe, like this video, and share this out. What we do over here on the Quisha King Show is we strive for truth. We want to get to the bottom of truth, and we want to dig a bit deeper to find solutions to make the world a better place. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.